Coach Greg. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you in very simple terms why many of you have stopped building muscle. When you first started training, because of newbie gains, everything was easy. You saw your weight go up, you got stronger, training was so much fun. Every weekend or month you went to the gym, it feels like you got bigger and stronger than last time. But it's been a few years now, perhaps in your 20s, and you no longer feel like you're building any muscle. And so I'm gonna give you some of the main reasons why you're sabotaging your workouts, why you're limiting your potential growth. And so please pay attention. These may have affected you in the past or at the present or even sometimes into the future. And so the first one, which affects many people, is they're simply not consistent. They have varying levels of commitment. Perhaps it's the new year in January and you're training harder than last time. You're going to the gym perhaps 5 or 6 days a week. Then suddenly you went on vacation in the spring, you took a week off, and for some reason that week off turned into 2, 3, and then 4. And so that desire to improve, that commitment that you once put in, it's simply not there. How many people out there can say they train consistently for an entire year? Just 1 year. Remember, it takes approximately 10 years to get to your natural genetic limit. And so here's the reality of how most people train, more than half. At some point in the year, you're highly motivated and you're training consistently, you're pushing yourself in the gym, you're making great gains. Then suddenly, for some reason, something happens. Life gets in the way. You either go on vacation, you perhaps get sick, the summertime hits, you're partying harder than last time, and you don't consistently go to the gym. And for the most part, it's just showing up. When people go to the gym, they're usually pushing hard enough. But if you examine yourself for the last year and you're very honest and critical with yourself, were there times when you slacked off? A couple weeks off here, a couple weeks off there, and you're asking yourself, why have I not made these gains? Were you slacking off on your diet? Were you just out on vacation? You were sick, you couldn't train hard? Were you out there going to the bars, clubbing? And so for the most part, if you can be consistent and go to the gym every single week, at least 2 or 3 times a week, you are going to make gains, at least for the first 10 years of your training. And so if you're not making gains and you're not training consistently, well, work on that. That is step 1. Number 2, at some point or another, you're going to be tempted to use performance-enhancing drugs, or perhaps even natural supplements. And so it's a new year, new me. You purchase creatine, Turk Builder, GO2 Max, beta-alanine, perhaps Hardcore 2 pre-workout. You use these supplements for, let's say, 3 months straight. Then suddenly you say, I can't be bothered. Well, you've been training under ideal conditions with all of the top supplements. And if you suddenly stop taking those supplements, you can't expect to keep making gains at the same rate. And so let's say you were lucky. Let's say you put on 5 pounds of muscle in 3 months. You've done exceptionally well. You suddenly take away those supplements, and for the next 3 months, you haven't put on a single pound of muscle. Well, what did you expect? If you gained 5 pounds of muscle while taking creatine, turkesterone, Ecti Builder, and so on, what makes you think you're going to continue to build muscle at the same rate if you're not taking those supplements? And so to simply maintain while not taking natural supplements, that is amazing. Now level that up, and we know a large percentage of people out there in gyms are perhaps taking SARMs and or steroids. If you take SARMs and or steroids, it's going to decrease your own body's production of testosterone. During the time when you're on those PEDs, of course it's easy to build muscle. But if you then stop, your muscles are going to get smaller. They have to. How can you put on all this muscle while you're taking testosterone or taking SARMs and think you're going to keep all those gains when you stop? You're going to lose your gains. And so perhaps 3 months later, you're thinking, well, why am I not making any progress? Well, why do you think? Perhaps your own body's production of testosterone, it's no longer at its maximum. It's now down here. Very difficult to put on muscle if your body is being suppressed. If this is the case, you can, of course, consider taking G-test. If you have lower levels of testosterone, studies have shown that the products in G-test can increase your testosterone by up to 200 to 400 nanograms per deciliter. That is a huge difference. Number 3, your diet. Many people out there are not even getting the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight they should be getting. Also, and trust me, this happens to many people out there. There are some days they're eating 1 meal, some days they're eating 5, they're skipping meals, they're partying all night, they're not getting in enough protein. Or when they do eat, they're eating crap, they're eating junk food, bag of chips. You need to eat consistently and consistently eat healthy. Let me say that one more time. You need to eat consistently and consistently eat healthy. If you're just eating chips, ice cream, candy, French fries, and going out for drinks and having ribs and thinking you're going to build as much muscle as somebody who's eating a consistently healthy diet, well, of course, you're simply delusional. And so if you're not building muscle and you're not following a consistent diet that's healthy, you're not going to make those gains. And as far as diet goes, of course, it considers that if you're not eating enough calories, how are you going to build muscle? If you're trying to maintain single-digit body fat or a very low percentage of body fat, or you're consistently on a diet, it's very difficult for you to build muscle. And so please, eat enough. Try to eat 3 to 5 meals a day with enough protein and healthy food to supply the energy to help you to build muscle. Next, are you foregoing leg day? You only care about training your upper body because it's easier, or that's what the ladies are going to see when you're shirtless on the beach. Well, if you're skipping out on leg day, you're for certain limiting your gains. Think of the growth hormone release, the increases in testosterone, and imagine how much muscle you can add onto your thighs. If you're 150 pounds and you only train your upper body, do you really think you're going to gain as much muscle as if you're 150 pounds and you train both upper and lower body? And so stop skipping leg day, or in fact, skipping any muscle. The more muscles that you train, the more potential muscle growth that you have. Up next, you're not training as hard as you should. Many people, I'm saying probably half the people in the gym, are just going through the motions. Trust me, I look at people in the gym. I watch them lift. Bodybuilders, people who are really serious, you know it's not you. It's the average person going to the gym thinking, yeah, I want to put on, 20 pounds of muscle, lose 20 pounds of fat this year. It's my first year training, and that's what I expect. They're going to the gym, they're training half-assed, they're going through the motions. They never even look like they're working hard. And so when you go to the gym and you're doing a set, unless you're a complete beginner, you need to be training close to failure. And what does that exactly look like? Well, going close to failure, it looks like you're about to fail. The best way to know if you failed is to try to do another rep, and if you can't get it, you failed. And if you can get it, well, you might have been able to get one more. You don't actually know if you hit failure unless you've tried. Many people have heard you don't need to train that hard. 3 IR, 3 reps in reserve. That's plenty. If you train too hard, you're not going to make the gains because, well, you're natural. This is BS. You can train harder than that. And for the most part, people underestimate exactly how many reps they can do. They might think, oh, I only had 2 or 3 reps left in the tank. I was near failure. But in reality, they could have got 5 or 6 reps more if they really pushed themselves. And so when you're in the gym, train hard. How hard? Harder than last time. I've been saying this for years. Look at your workout the last week, the last time you went to the gym, and can you in fact do more? Can you in fact get 1 extra rep? Can you lift 1 extra pound? Can you slow down the eccentric? Can you do a forced rep, a paused rep? Try to add something in order to make the workout harder than last time. Next up is bad form. If you go to the gym and, for example, are doing squats and you only go a quarter of the way down, or if you're simply cheating the rep up on every single rep, you're doing seated rows and you're swinging, it looks like you're rowing a boat and going absolutely nowhere, or you're simply not engaging the muscle that you're supposed to, please watch YouTube videos and see how should that exercise be performed. The best way to learn to do an exercise is to watch someone who's doing it effectively. You can read about it, but it's so much easier to simply watch the person do it and copy them. Try to use a strict technique at the start, train to failure, and slowly over time you will master this technique. Try not to ego lift in the gym. If you ego lift in the gym, it's most likely going to lead to this bad form. You're going to end up getting injured. And if you're not injured, you can't train consistently, which was the point I made in step 1. And so by improving your training technique, you're going to more effectively hit those muscles. Make sure you're doing reps at least into the 8 to 15 rep range. That is what I suggest. Of course, you can still build muscle by lifting heavier weights and or lighter. But if you stick to 8 to 15 repetitions, for the most part, for most people, that's the easiest way to build muscle. Point number 6 is many people still following the bro splits from the past. You're training each body part only 1 day per week. There are so many different ways to train. And for the most part, unless you're a professional bodybuilder or a highly advanced trainer that's an expert on everything, you're going to get more results by training each body part twice or even 3 times per week. By doing that, it avoids you overtraining on any given day. You don't need to do 10 to 20 sets of anything on any given day. How hard are you really pushing by set 15 on the same body part in any one given workout? You're going to get so sore it's harder to recover. And so by splitting up your workouts so that you're training each muscle twice or even 3 times a week, you're going to be able to train that muscle harder with less volume, recover from that, and you'll have more opportunities for that muscle to build every single week. If you only train each body part once a week, you have 52 opportunities for that muscle to grow in a year. But if you switch to training each muscle twice a week, you now have 104 times to build muscle in any given year. And so with more opportunities for growth comes more opportunities to build muscle. And so in the end, if you're not building muscle, training one body part per week, try splitting it up, train twice or even 3 times per week. And so for me personally, I train my entire body 2 or 3 times a week. I don't go to the gym all that often. Now remember, I also do a lot of cardio, normally 6 days a week. And so training with weights 6 days a week would be overtraining. Which brings me to point number 7. You're doing too much hard cardio. If you're doing HIIT cardio, you're going for runs. You're doing very intense cardiovascular workouts, and you notice that you're sore from these workouts. You are for sure limiting your ability to build muscle. As a rule of thumb, if you're trying to maximize muscle growth, your cardio should not be past zone 2. Any kind of sprinting, running up a hill, this is zone 5. If you're running to the point where you're having a hard time talking, or you notice you're getting that lactic acid burn, this is going to prevent you from building as much muscle. You might build some muscle when you're a newbie in the gym, but as you become more experienced, intermediate, and advanced, if you start adding in all this hard cardio, you're probably going to not only prevent yourself from building muscle, but you might in fact lose some. And so my advice, quit the running. It's too much impact. It makes it too difficult. You're going to be too sore. Switch up running for something like bike riding, or for example, walking on an incline treadmill, doing the stepper, the elliptical. These are easier on your joints, going to do less wear and tear on your body, make it easier for you to recover from not only the cardio, but also from lifting weights. Remember, if you're trying to build muscle and get your cardiovascular workout at the same time, it's very demanding. Studies show that you should separate these by about 8 hours. What I like to do is I do them back to back, but I know that this is limiting ultimately my muscle growing potential. But please do the best you can. Perhaps if you do cardio and weights, you're only going to get 80% of the gains, but for most people, 80% is plenty. If you're consistently going to the gym, as in step 1, and you're doing everything else correctly, you're eating great, you're going to sleep on time, you're doing the proper training, not ego lifting in the gym, you will continue to build muscle. But if you've hit a plateau and you notice, hey, I really want to build muscle, and you're doing all this hard cardio, especially if you're running, you need to reduce the intensity of your cardiovascular workouts or do fewer minutes than last time. Next up, you're simply overtraining with weights in the gym. Maybe 5% of people are going to experience this. In these individuals, normally what's happening is they get to a plateau, they don't see any results, and so they keep training harder. They add in more volume, they add in more training days. They're perhaps training 7 days a week. They're going to the gym for 1 or 2 hours, training hard every single day with no deloads, no rest time, and they're simply overworked. They can't continue. They're not recovering. You'd need to try a deload, perhaps not a full week, perhaps take a couple days off. Go a little bit easier. Sometimes less is more, in particular, those who are training to failure and or beyond. You can't be training to pass failure and doing 10 or 20 sets every single week. It's simply too much. And so if you notice that you don't have the same enthusiasm in the gym, you're not as aggressive in the gym, you're not feeling the vibe when you get there, perhaps you've been doing so much, so back off, go a little bit easier, and then pick up your intensity from there. Progressive overload. Start again going easy, and each week after that, please continue to go harder than last time. And for myself, as a general rule of thumb, you shouldn't be sore for more than about 1 day. If you train chest and 3 days later, you still can feel your chest, it's still sore. If it's sore to the touch or sore when you flex it, you're simply going too hard. For most people, they have the opposite problem. They're not going hard enough. But there are some of you out there, you're animals in the gym. You push so hard. Those individuals, you can back off a little bit. Perhaps you can do less sets, or perhaps don't go to failure as often. Number 9, boredom. You simply get sick of the gym. Perhaps when you started joining the gym, you loved it. It was fun. You were training. Every day you went to the gym was a great day. Now you're getting bored in the gym. You're going through the motions. Perhaps you need to get a coach. Perhaps you need to start a different program. What I do suggest is perhaps try a different gym. Different scenery, different girls, guys, whatever, can have you with renewed enthusiasm. There might be a new machine at that other gym that you've never tried before and use it and you absolutely love it. Me personally, I have memberships at 3 different gyms, and one of those gyms, you can train everywhere. And so in any given day, I might be training at 3 different locations in 1 single week. It offers you variation, keeps things exciting, and when you're excited and enjoying yourself, you're going to train that much harder. If you hate your workout and you're bored and you consider it a chore, how hard are you actually pushing? And so remember, variation is the spice of life. And number 10, and for a long time viewers, you knew this was coming. You're not using my friggin' cookbook. Of course you're not. If you were using my cookbook, you'd probably be a professional bodybuilder. You'd have amazing six-pack abs. You'd be able to do anything, accomplish everything. Your bed, it gets made for you in the morning. Your coffee's already made. You have dirty clothes at night. Magically, they're washed. All from getting my friggin' cookbook. You know you want the cookbook. Low-calorie, delicious meals for the big eater. Lots of protein, fiber. It's satiating. And we don't just have cookbooks here. We have things like Seco bars. We've got creatine. We've got Turk Builder, G-Test, G-Shred, Ecti Builder, Harder Than Last Time for the downstairs, GO2 Max, improved cardiovascular support, beta-alanine, greens. Brand new, we have Hardcore Pre-Workout 2.0. We've also got Pre-Workout Non-Stim for your pumps, Perilight, Delta Sleep to help you get better sleep. How are you building muscle if you don't sleep? We have collagen protein. You sick of farting? Get in the collagen protein. Liver support, ashwagandha, Tom Catalee, improve your testosterone levels. 3 tests, multivitamins, NAC, G-Focus, and the list goes on and on. Also have not 1, but 3 training books and the Circle Diet book, My Life's Work, How to Lose Weight and Keep It Off for the Rest of Your Life. And remember, they're all at varying price points. We have PDF and hard copies. You can get any of the several different cookbooks. And so what are you waiting for? Head over to my website. And remember, if you have no money, head over there anyway. Giving away a free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages. What do you have to lose? You can start there. It's free, 100% free. But if you want any of the supplements I've been talking about, the books, anything, or even the Harder Than Last Time clothing line, don't forget to enter code Greg 10% off. Subscribe, click the bell button. Please like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to add a comment to help the algorithm. And don't forget to watch one of those 2 loops as well as the diet and training program for me and my team, the phone consults. And until next time, I am out.